It's spring 2022 in one of the largest suburbs of Buenos Aires, González Catón, Argentina. Passengers are waiting to board the local metro when suddenly disaster strikes. As the security camera rolls, we see a blue metro train arriving at a station with numerous passengers on the platform waiting to board. Then a woman in white stumbles towards the platform and then fully collapses directly in between two train cars. Now, we wouldn't show you this if it didn't have a happy ending. But take another look. She falls face forward through the narrow gap and onto the tracks below. Her fall timed perfectly with the passing of the gap. The onlookers are shocked and cover their faces in dismay. But soon, emergency responders arrive and are able to pull the woman out, safe and sound. Author Heidi Hollis believes this was no mere coincidence.
I think there was a higher power at work here that may have intervened and help the situation along to end up the way that it did.
Could this be video evidence of divine intervention? While the number of total claims is unknown, the Vatican has confirmed roughly 1,500 miracles since the 1500s. Hollis says this video should make you a believer too.
There's this wonderful idea that we have guardian angels, which are divine beings from God that make sure that we don't leave this earth before our time. I really think that her guardian angel spared her.
Hollis also considers if this may be proof that humans have a biological sixth sense to protect themselves.
It had to be so precise and so perfect. Had she not gone limp, had she not collapsed the way that she did, there's no way she would have come out unscathed. She might not have made it.
We've been taught that humans have 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing. But there is another semi-sense, proprioception, which helps us track where our bodies are in space. Could this additional sense be what saved this woman's life? Let's see what our experts think. First, forensic video analyst Michael Primo takes a look to see if the video is even real.
Based on the physical aspects of the scene, the woman is definitely in the video. There is multiple subjects that she travels past, position of shadow and light information that would have been difficult to fabricate with a lower quality video like this.
So if the video is real, could this be evidence of a miracle?
When we look at the definition of miracles, we look at things that are rare and unexplained. But more importantly, the things that are worked for the good. In this case, this woman's life is spared in a dramatic way. This is clearly worked for the good. And the mere fact that she had such a rare occurrence, we have to say that this might qualify as a miracle.
Yet O'Neill says the Catholic Church does not declare miracles lightly.
When it comes to the investigation of miracles by the Vatican, there's just not enough proof. When we talk about healing miracles, we have the disease before and the lack of disease after. So in the case of this woman falling into a train, could there be any test to prove it's a miracle? There's no such test. We just have to take it on faith, perhaps.
So it's possible we're witnessing a true miracle, but is there any evidence angels could have been involved?
The concept of guardian angels, or angels in general, is pervasive across many religions, whether that's Christianity, Judaism, Islam. We have this idea of angels walking amongst us. 2 very recent popes have spoken about guardian angels in existence. But here there's no proof that, in fact, an angel is present. We can only go by the chances of death of somebody tumbling into a train. Perhaps there's an angel here, but we may never know.
Physicist Dr. Michio Kaku says the body itself is the miracle, specifically that power of proprioception.
Proprioception is the ability to unconsciously manipulate the human body in 3 dimensions in order to avoid danger or to perform certain miraculous tasks. So it's not a guardian angel, it's not a fairy godmother. Your body instinctively takes over and unconsciously understands where your arms and legs are and guides your motion in 3 dimensions.
So while this woman's 6th sense may have guided her, Kaku can't rule out she may just be very lucky.
Is it possible to quantify luck? And the answer is yes. In fact, we physicists do this all the time. You look at all possible outcomes and you calculate the probability of each outcome taking place, and that allows you to mathematically calculate the probability that certain unlikely miraculous events will happen.
Our verdict, we're gonna call this an unofficial possible miracle. Sure, we could just chalk the perfectly timed fall up to 1 in a million luck or proprioception, But for the woman to come away essentially unharmed, you can have your own opinion, but I'm thinking a higher power may be involved. 2018, we're in my home state of Georgia, in the town of Austell, just outside Atlanta. This is the area where the Chattahoochee River runs underneath the I-20 interstate. Jason Olseth, the Chattahoochee River keeper, documents anything that doesn't belong here. This certainly qualifies. There's not one, not two, not three, but many, many dead goats floating downstream or washed up on riverbeds. And take a closer look, if you can, they're all missing their heads.
This was something that was clearly decapitated and then purposely put in the Chattahoochee, which we've never ever seen that before. Knowing that somebody had brutally cut the head off of this animal and purposely dumped it in the river is pretty unsettling.
And this wasn't a one-time thing. It's become a nearly daily occurrence.
Now, I've seen it thousands and thousands of times. I mean, I see so many of them, I don't even slow the boat down.
Anthropologist Kathy Strange says some suggested a large local predator could be to blame.
In 2019, a 13-foot alligator was found near Atlanta. It was so large that people thought it was a hoax, but after the Georgia Department of Natural Resources came in, they verified that it was a real alligator. It's very likely that if a goat was there on the shoreline and they were hungry, they would clearly go for it.
Others on the internet are reminded of other similar livestock mutilations, an alleged hallmark of alien activity.
In 2016, in Brazelton, which is near Atlanta, cows were found bloodless, but they had these neat little circles carved into their rear ends. Usually, aliens are the ones that are blamed for this. That might explain what it is that we are seeing here.
Journalist MJ Banias discusses another theory circulating the web about who could be responsible: practitioners of Santeria.
Santeria originates in the Afro-Caribbean, Latin American part of the world, and essentially involves the sacrifice of animals for various mystical reasons, like bringing good luck.
Down in Florida, similar incidents have occurred wherein supposed practitioners of Santeria left the remnants of sacrificed animals along railroad tracks for good luck.
Whoever is doing this needs a significant amount of luck if they have to sacrifice this many goats. So who would have the ability to fund the purchase or theft of these goats? A lot of local press and a lot of investigators have pointed to potential drug cartels that are engaging in this practice. It's no secret that Pablo Escobar would run drugs from Miami, Florida into Atlanta, Georgia. So if there are drug cartels vying for territorial dominance, any little bit of luck can help.
Whatever is going on, it needs to stop. This river is drinking water for 5 million people. The water is much less polluted than it used to be, thanks in part to the Riverkeepers organization. But this has the potential to turn things back around, both environmentally and socially. No one wants to see a headless goat while they're paddling down the river. Let's see if our experts have any ideas. First, wildlife biologist Stephanie Manka considers if this could be the work of a killer alligator.
From the way these goats look, it doesn't really look like they're taken by a predator. It just seems like the head has been cut off. It doesn't seem like it's been ripped or torn. Also, if it were an alligator, I would expect there to be tears across the body, like tearing from pulling the fur as it tried to consume the animal. And why would a predator only take their heads?
So, if it's not a gator, could alien activity explain these creepy corpses?
I have a hard time believing that this was caused by aliens. It doesn't seem like there was any sort of advanced technology or lasers to make a precise cut. To me, this cut looks like it could have been easily done by a human with a knife. The heads are almost like hacked away.
As for Santeria, we consulted with Professor of Social Ethics Miguel de la Torre, whose parents were practitioners of Santeria.
This, I don't believe, is part of a traditional way of sacrificing animals in Santeria. Whoever was doing this really didn't know what they were doing. It's not really the way the religion operates. You may do a sacrifice once in your life when you have a specific problem, but that you shouldn't be killing a goat a couple of times a week.
Our verdict: unexplained animal slaughter. We're not totally sure why these goats keep ending up headless in the river, but we agree with our experts that these cuts appear to be performed by some untrained human hand. Whatever's going on, we can only pray it stops. It's November 2016, and Sunil Krishnan has made a pilgrimage to the ancient village of Hampi. He is there to explore the beauty and antiquity of the Vatala Temple. The temple's biggest attractions are these mysterious 56 pillars made of solid granite that somehow produce musical notes when struck.
So I went there, then I realized this is beyond my understanding. You've heard about this pillar all your life. Finally, you get to play with it. That is an amazing experience.
Journalist Eric Grunhauser says that visitors to the ancient site have been fascinated by the musical pillars for more than 500 years.
The musical pillars of Hampi consist of 56 granite pillars, sometimes referred to as the Sa-Re-Ga-Ma pillars. Sa-Re-Ga-Ma being the Indian version of the tonal scale equivalent to a do, re, mi, fa. So the sounds emitted will change depending on which pillar you are tapping. According to legend, the musical pillars may have been created for the god Vishnu to celebrate his return, and the reincarnation of Vishnu will destroy the wicked and the unjust in this dawning of a new age.
Grundhauser says foreign invaders have long obsessed over the mystery of how these stone columns could produce such soothing music.
The Mughals are said to have charred the pillars for 3 months trying to unlock the secrets of their musical notes. The English ended up carving off 2 of the pillars just to see inside, discovering that they are just granite pillars. Many visitors to the site still have trouble explaining how the pillars could have been created to emit such unique musical tones.
Although we have examples of resonant stones in other parts of the world, there's nothing quite like Hampi's pillars in terms of historical significance. For decades, they have been the subject of numerous scientific studies, and yet they still remain an enigma. So let's see if our experts can solve this ancient riddle. We start with forensic audio analyst Dr. Rob Maher, who has a theory as to how these pillars made of solid rock could make music.
The mechanics of this particular rock and the diameter of the pillars are that it's a flexural vibration, meaning the whole pillar itself is wiggling side to side, almost like a string. And so that's the thing that is allowing it to vibrate at a particular frequency.
Sound crazy? Well, you see examples of flexural vibration all the time, like on a guitar string or a coiled door stopper. To test his theory, Maher creates a synthetic version of a flexural vibration sound and compares it to the columns.
So I'll play the synthesized first. So it has the same characteristic pitch and the general quality to it. And so what we're hearing when the structure is struck is just these flexural vibrations, but the understanding of how they work is still emerging.
So how could a giant piece of stone be made to produce a sound the same way as a guitar string?
Some theories have said that it may be that the pillars are reconstituted granite, and each one of the pillars were purpose-made for the tones. Perhaps there's inclusions in the granite stones that subtly produce these differences in tone, but exactly what that inclusion would be and how Hindus of the 1500s figured that out, these are all still unanswered questions.
Barnhart also points out that even if it was possible for artisans from over 500 years ago to wield the technology needed, the surrounding evidence does not support that conclusion.
The creation of a cement that would be made of granite would involve heating up that granite to thousands of degrees, and there's no evidence of any kilns of that nature being able to get that hot anywhere near the temple.
And even then, the musical mystery remains.
The kind of trial and error it would take to make each one of them consistently make a different tone, it boggles the modern mind how we would go about this process. So the idea that scientists of the 1500s did this, not once, but 56 times, is really kind of amazing.
Okay, people, we are genuinely stumped. We don't know how these things were made, so we have to conclude the musical pillars of Hampi are the product of a lost technology, forgotten over time. Today, the pillars are cordoned off to prevent further damage to the stone instruments. So if you go, look, but don't touch. November 2022, the city of Buenos in Inner Mongolia, China. Here, farming livestock is commonplace. Ms. Meow is one of those farmers, and today, she sees something she can't explain. Dozens of sheep from pen number 13 line up in formation, and as if in a trance, walk in a circle. And here's the weird part. They didn't stop for 12 days. That's right, 12 days. Journalist Aaron McCarthy says the internet is filled with theories about what could be making these sheep behave this way.
Many have commented on the fact that sheep are sacrificial animals in many cultures and religions, which has led some to ponder if these animals are actually part of some kind of bizarre ritual.
A variety of folklore suggests that sheep can predict things like the weather. In fact, some people in Iceland believe that a sheep urinating more frequently is a sign of rain to come, and recent research suggests that sheep, along with other farm animals, can predict earthquakes approximately 20 hours before they happen. Could these sheep be collectively predicting something we don't yet understand? McCarthy lays out another, more toxic theory.
The farm is located in Buenos, which is actually the largest processing center for rare earth elements in China. Studies have shown that the soil and the groundwater in Buenos are highly polluted. Could this sheep circle be the consequence of the processing that occurs in plants in the area?
Previously on this show, we've covered something similar out of the UK. Our last investigation concluded that that bizarre sheep circling had a very simple explanation. Their food had been placed in circles. Let's see if our experts are able to explain this case. Biologist Floyd Hayes examines the possibility that this odd behavior could be the result of toxic pollution.
There are a variety of ways in which pollution can affect sheep. It can cause mutations, birth defects, cancer. It could also cause neurological defects. In this case, we're seeing a behavioral issue that could potentially be caused by a neurological impairment.
However, based on the appearance of the sheep in this video, Hayes is not convinced that pollution is to blame.
Diseases caused by environmental pollutants usually result in a serious illness. These animals look to be healthy and vigorous. They don't look particularly skinny. They don't look like they're losing their hair. They're not limping. So I think they're healthy sheep.
Wildlife biologist Stephanie Manka considers whether this could be the result of a bacterial infection.
One potential explanation is listeriosis, which is a disease that can occur in sheep. It's a neurological disease, so it affects their ability to walk straight.
The listeria bacteria that causes listeriosis frequently develops in decaying animals, so an animal farm is a perfect breeding ground.
Listeriosis can cause animals to walk in a circle, but usually it's more of an individual spinning, and if the listeriosis continued without treatment, the individuals would die within 24 to 48 hours. And given these sheep have been walking collectively for 12 days, it's unlikely to be listeriosis.
So, if it's not listeriosis, do we have any idea what's going on here?
Perhaps the pen is too small, or there's enough individuals in there to trigger flocking behavior, and the sheep are simply following along with whichever individual started it. And there's really no reason for the circle to stop as long as there's sheep still participating in it. As long as some are moving, others will be triggered by their natural behavior to join in.
Maybe, but we're still left wondering, if there were more than a dozen sheep pens, why did this only happen in pen number 13? I was convinced we'd be able to explain this, but guess what? We can't. We're calling this a UOP, An unexplained ovine phenomenon. We've ruled out feeding patterns, known diseases, and pollution. So maybe there's something supernatural afoot with Mongolian sheep. Think about that the next time you put on a sweater.